A silk gown glimmers under chandelier light. Twirling through a grand ballroom until a crimson stain spreads across it and a body collapses. Hercule Poirot's keen eyes catch a fleeting shadow. Who stained the silk with blood? Unravel the mystery with us in Poirot and Blood on the Silk Gown. The Fatal Waltz. Hello, mystery lovers, and welcome to the first chapter of our gripping tale. Poirot and Blood on the Silk Gown. The Fatal Waltz. Picture 1930s England, where the elite gather in opulent halls to dance and whisper secrets. Tonight, we're stepping into Ravenwood Hall, a sprawling estate where the air is thick with glamour and hidden motives. The legendary detective Hercule Poirot, with his unmatched wit and meticulous moustache, has been invited to a grand gala hosted by the enigmatic Lady Celeste Marwood. But this isn't just a night of waltzes and champagne. Something sinister lurks beneath the polished surface. In this chapter, we'll set the stage, meet the key players, and witness the shocking moment that turns a celebration into a crime scene. So, settle in, grab a snack, and let's dive into the mystery. The story begins with Hercule Poirot in his pristine London flat, polishing his pocket watch as Captain Hastings bursts through the door, waving a cream-coloured envelope sealed with a golden crest. "Poirot, you've been invited to Ravenwood Hall," Hastings exclaims, his face alight with excitement. Lady Celeste's gala is the event of the year. Poirot, ever composed, adjusts his bow tie and raises an eyebrow. "Mon ami, such invitations are rarely for pleasure alone," he says, his Belgian accent laced with suspicion. Ravenwood Hall, owned by the wealthy and widowed Lady Celeste, is famed for its extravagant parties, but rumours swirl about her late husband's fortune and the shadows in her past. Intrigued by the whispers, Poirot agrees to attend, sensing a puzzle waiting to be solved. As Poirot and Hastings arrive at Ravenwood Hall, the scene is breathtaking. The estate looms against the twilight, its stone facade draped in ivy, its windows glowing with golden light. Inside, the grand ballroom sparkles with crystal chandeliers, polished oak floors, and walls adorned with silk tapestries. Guests in elegant tuxedos and shimmering gowns glide to the strains of a string quartet, their laughter mingling with the clink of champagne glasses. But Poirot's sharp eyes catch subtleties others miss. A tense exchange in a corner, a hand lingering too long on a jewelled bracelet, a waiter moving with unusual purpose. "Hastings," he murmurs, "this ballroom is a chessboard, and we must watch every move. Let's meet the cast of this deadly waltz." Lady Celeste Marwood, the hostess, is a vision in a sapphire silk gown, her charm radiant but her smile guarded. At 38, she's a widow whose husband, Lord Rupert Marwood, died in a hunting accident, or so the story goes, leaving her a fortune shrouded in mystery. Next is Colonel Marcus Vane, a retired military man with a gruff demeanour and a habit of gripping his cane too tightly, his eyes often fixed on Lady Celeste. Then there's Miss Isabella Fontaine, a young opera singer with a voice like velvet and a penchant for flirting with danger. Finally, we have Mr. Edward Lyle, a reserved accountant who manages Lady Celeste's finances, his quiet presence hiding a sharp intellect. These players, among others, form a tapestry of motives that Poirot is eager to unravel. As the gala unfolds, Poirot mingles, his polite questions slicing through small talk. He learns that Lord Rupert's death 3 years ago was never fully explained. A stray bullet, the coroner ruled, but whispers of foul play persist. Lady Celeste inherited everything, but her fortune is tied to a contested trust, fueling gossip about her motives. Colonel Vane, a close friend of the late Lord, seems protective of Lady Celeste, yet his gruff comments hint at resentment. Miss Fontaine, dazzling in a cream silk gown, captivates the room, but Poirot notices her glance nervously at a locked door leading to the east wing. Mr. Lyle, meanwhile, hovers near the edge of the crowd, his ledger-like notebook never far from hand, his eyes tracking every expense. The night deepens, and the quartet strikes up a lively waltz. The dance floor becomes a swirl of colour, with Lady Celeste leading the way, her sapphire gown catching the light. Poirot, sipping mineral water alcohol, dulls the mind observes from the sidelines, noting the dynamics. Colonel Vane cuts in to dance with Lady Celeste, his grip firm, their conversation tense. Miss Fontaine dances with a young air, her laughter bright, but her eyes darting to the east wing door again. Mr. Lyle, standing near a silk tapestry, scribbles in his notebook, his pen pausing as he watches the Colonel. Poirot's instincts tingle something is amiss. Then, as the clock nears 11, a piercing scream shatters the music. The dancers freeze, and all eyes turn to Miss Isabella Fontaine, standing near the east wing door. Her cream silk gown is stained with a spreading crimson patch, and she sways, clutching her chest. He's dead, she gasps, pointing to the shadows beyond the door. The crowd surges forward, and there, slumped against a marble pillar, is a man in a dark suit, a bullet wound in his chest, blood pooling on the floor. The guests gasp, and Lady Celeste faints into Colonel Vane's arms. Poirot steps forward, his calm a beacon in the chaos. "Madame et messieurs," he says, "remain where you are. Hercule Poirot will find the truth." The victim is identified as Mr. Julian Harrow, a private investigator not on the guest list. His presence raises immediate questions. Who invited him, and why was he shot? Poirot kneels beside the body, noting the angle of the wound, close range, precise and a faint scent of gunpowder mixed with something floral, perhaps jasmine. A crumpled note in Harrow's hand reads, "The silk hides the truth." Poirot's eyes narrow. The note echoes the blood on Miss Fontaine's gown. Was she the target, or merely a witness? The east wing door, slightly ajar, leads to a dark corridor, and Poirot spots a single pearl bead on the floor, glinting in the dim light. A clue, or a distraction? As Japp's police team arrives, summoned by a quick-thinking butler, Poirot begins his initial observations. The east wing, sealed since Lord Rupert's death, is off-limits, yet someone unlocked it tonight. Miss Fontaine, trembling, insists she went to the door for air and found Harrow already dead. Colonel Vane claims he was dancing with Lady Celeste, while Mr. Lyle says he was near the tapestry, checking expenses. Lady Celeste, revived but pale, swears she knew nothing of Harrow's presence. Poirot, unconvinced, notes the floral scent on the note and the pearl bead, suspecting they tie too. One of the guests, "Hastings," he whispers, "this is no accident. The waltz has turned fatal, and we must find the lead dancer." The chapter ends with the grand ballroom of Ravenwood Hall, once alive with the elegance of a waltz, is now a crime scene cloaked in tension. Hercule Poirot stands by the silk tapestries, his sharp eyes scanning the room where Julian Harrow, a private investigator, was found shot, his blood staining Miss Isabella Fontaine's silk gown. The crumpled note in his hand, "The silk hides the truth," and a single pearl bead near the east wing door hint at a deeper conspiracy tied to the mysterious death of Lord Rupert Marwood 3 years ago. Suspects abound. Lady Celeste Marwood, the poised yet secretive hostess, Colonel Marcus Vane, the gruff military man, Miss Fontaine, the opera singer with a stained gown, and Mr. Edward Lyle, the reserved accountant. Poirot's little grey cells are buzzing, piecing together the floral scent, the locked east wing, and Harrow's uninvited presence. In this chapter, we dive into the investigator's past, probe the guests' alibis, and uncover clues that tighten the web of suspicion. The Fatal Waltz is gaining speed, and every step could lead closer to the killer or deeper into danger. Let's follow Poirot's lead. Poirot begins by examining the crime scene with Inspector Japp, who's arrived with his usual mix of skepticism and trust in Poirot's methods. The East Wing corridor, where Harrow was found, is dimly lit, its walls lined with faded portraits of the Marwood family. The bullet wound, close range and precise, suggests a calculated act, and the floral scent jasmine Poirot confirms, lingers on the note. Mon cher Inspector Poirot says, this was no random shooting. Harrow sought a truth, and someone silenced him. Japp, scratching his head, shares early findings. Harrow was a private investigator, hired by an anonymous client to probe Lord Rupert's death. Ruled a hunting accident, but rumoured to be murder. Sounds like he stirred up trouble, Japp. Grumbles. Poirot nods, his mind on the note's cryptic message. The silk hides the truth. The pearl bead, small but gleaming, catches Poirot's eye. He retrieves it from the corridor floor, noting its delicate craftsmanship a match for the earrings worn by Miss Fontaine during the gala. Curious, he murmurs, slipping it into an envelope. The East Wing, sealed since Lord Rupert's death, shows signs of recent entry, a faint scuff mark on the doorframe and a trace of dust disturbed on the floor. Poirot suspects Harrow was lured here, but by whom? He notices a faint smudge of gunpowder on the pillar where Harrow fell, suggesting the killer stood close. Hastings, he says to his loyal friend, this was a dance of intimacy, and victim knew each other. In the drawing room, the guests are restless, their alibis shaky under Japp's questioning. Poirot starts with Miss Fontaine, whose cream silk gown, now cleaned of blood, hangs in her room. Mademoiselle, he begins, his tone gentle but probing, your scream alerted us to Harrow's body. Why were you at the East Wing door? Isabella's eyes flicker, her hands twisting a laced handkerchief. I needed air, she insists. The ballroom was stifling, and I stepped out. That's when I saw him dead. Her voice trembles, but Poirot notices her earrings, one missing, matching the bead he found. And this, he asks, holding up the pearl. Isabella pales. I must have lost it earlier, she stammers. Poirot files away her reaction, sensing more than distress. Colonel Vane is next, his cane tapping impatiently as Poirot approaches. Monsieur, you were dancing with Lady Celeste at the time of the scream, yet your cane bears a fresh scratch perhaps from the east wings. Stone floor. Vane's face hardens. I was nowhere near that corridor, Poirot. I'm no killer. But his grip on the cane tightens, and Poirot recalls his protective demeanour toward Lady Celeste. Did you know Monsieur Harrow? Poirot asks. Vane scoffs. Never heard of him. Some nosy investigator poking into old business. His dismissal is too quick, and Poirot notes a faint tremor in his hand, a sign of nerves or guilt. Lady Celeste, regal despite the chaos, meets Poirot's questions with icy composure. Monsieur Poirot, I assure you, I had no knowledge of this man's presence, she says, her sapphire gown catching the light. My gala was meant for celebration, not tragedy. But Poirot mentions the note's words. The silk hides the truth. Her smile falters. A poetic phrase, nothing more, she replies. But her fingers brush a silk shawl draped over her chair, its jasmine scent matching the note. Madame Poirot presses, "Did Harrow seek the truth about your husband's death?" Lady Celeste's eyes narrow, but she says nothing. Her silence louder than words. Mr. Lyle, the accountant, is a study in restraint, his notebook clutched like a shield. "Monsieur Lyle," Poirot says, "you were near the tapestry, yet your notebook tracks more than expenses, Nan." Lyle adjusts his glasses, his voice steady. "I monitor Lady Celeste's finances, nothing else. I saw nothing of this Harrow." But Poirot notices a smudge of ink on Lyle's cuff, matching the blue of the note in Harrow's hand. "You write with precision," Poirot says, "yet your hands betray you." Lyle's composure holds, but a bead of sweat betrays his calm. Poirot suspects he knows more about the Trust and Harrow's investigation than he admits. As Poirot gathers more evidence, Japp's men uncover Harrow's briefcase, hidden in a guest room closet. Inside are notes detailing Lord Rupert's death, a bullet wound, ruled accidental but with inconsistencies in the coroner's report. Harrow suspected poison in Rupert's system, masked by a staged accident. His client, unnamed, paid him to investigate Lady Celeste's finances, hinting at a hidden beneficiary. Mon ami Poirot tells Hastings Harrow was close to a secret worth killing for. The notes mention a silk connection, perhaps the tapestries, or Lady Celeste's gown. Poirot also finds a receipt for jasmine perfume, purchased in London days before the gala, deepening the floral clue. A maid, nervous but bold, approaches Poirot with a tip. "Sir, I saw a man in a dark coat near the east wing before the scream," she whispers. "He was carrying something small, a gun, maybe." The description doesn't match any guess precisely, but Colonel Vane's military coat comes to mind. Poirot thanks her, his mind racing. He returns to the ballroom, examining the silk tapestries, their intricate patterns hiding nothing but dust. Yet the note's words nag at him. He checks the east wing door's lock, finding it recently oiled, no forced entry, meaning someone with a key let Harrow in. The guests grow tense as accusations fly. Colonel Vane snaps at Isabella, "You brought this trouble, prancing around with that gown." Isabella retorts, "You're the one always hovering over Celeste." Lady Celeste remains aloof, but her eyes follow Poirot, while Lyle scribbles furiously, as if documenting the chaos. Poirot addresses the group. Madame et Messieurs Julian Harrow sought a truth hidden in silk. Someone in this room ensured his silence. Speak now, or the truth will find you. The silence is heavy, broken only by the distant tick of a clock. Poirot confides in Hastings and Japp as the day ends. The silk is a metaphor, mon ami, a veil over the truth. Harrow's death protects a secret about Lord Rupert's murder. Japp grumbles, "We need more than metaphors, Poirot." But Poirot's eyes gleam. "The clues are aligning, Inspector. The pearl, the jasmine, the key, they will lead us to the killer." In the next chapter, Poirot will delve into the East Wing's secrets, uncovering a trail that ties Harrow's death to Lord Rupert's. The waltz is far from over, and the next step could be deadly. Stay with us, folks. This mystery is heating up. Hit that like button, subscribe, and drop your... The grandeur of Ravenwood Hall's ballroom feels like a distant memory as Hercule Poirot stands at the threshold of the East Wing, where Julian Harrow's body was found, his blood-staining Miss Isabella Fontaine's silk gown. The crumpled note, the silk hides the truth, and a single pearl bead, along with the jasmine scent and a recently oiled lock point to a calculated murder tied to Lord Rupert Marwood's mysterious death 3 years ago. The suspects, Lady Celeste Marwood, Colonel Marcus Vane, Miss Fontaine, and Mr. Edward Lyle, entangled in a web of shaky alibis and hidden motives. Poirot's little grey cells are working overtime, piecing together Harrow's investigation into a possible poisoning and a contested fortune. In this chapter, we follow Poirot into the sealed East Wing, where dusty secrets and forgotten relics reveal a connection to the past that could unmask the killer. The Fatal Waltz is picking up tempo, and every clue could lead to a breakthrough or a deadly misstep. Let's step into the shadows with Poirot. Poirot, accompanied by Captain Hastings and Inspector Japp, secures permission to explore the East Wing, which Lady Celeste has kept locked since her husband's death. "This is highly irregular, monsieur." "Poirot," she says, her voice sharp as she hands over the key, her sapphire gown shimmering with restrained tension. Poirot nods politely, but his eyes catch the faint tremble in her hand. "Madame, the truth respects no barriers," he replies. The East Wing door creaks open, revealing a dim corridor lined with cobwebbed portraits and locked rooms. The air is heavy with dust, and Hastings sneezes, muttering, "This place gives me the creeps, Poirot." Poirot's moustache twitches. "Mon ami, it is in the shadows that secrets come to light." The corridor leads to a series of rooms, including Lord Rupert's private study, untouched since his death. Poirot examines the doorframe, noting the scuff mark and oiled lock someone entered recently, likely to meet Harrow. Inside the study, the air is stale, and a heavy desk dominates the room, its surface cluttered with hunting trophies and faded ledgers. A portrait of Lord Rupert, stern and imposing, hangs above the fireplace, his eyes seeming to follow Poirot's movements. The detective's fingers trace the desk, finding a hidden drawer that yields a small, locked journal. The key from Lady Celeste doesn't fit, but Poirot, with a deft twist of a hairpin, opens it. "Voila," he murmurs, "the past speaks." The journal, written in Lord Rupert's hand, is a treasure trove of suspicion. Entries from 3 years ago describe his growing unease about his business partners and his wife's distant behavior. One passage reads, "Celeste grows cold, and I fear she knows of the trust's secrets." The silk conceals more than beauty. The word silk jolts Poirot, echoing the note in Harrow's hand. Another entry mentions AMV, possibly Colonel Marcus Vane, warning Rupert of a traitor in our ranks. A final chilling note, dated days before his death, states, "I have proof of the poison. It is hidden where the silk meets the flame." Poirot's pulse quickens, another clue tied to silk, and perhaps a fireplace. Poirot searches the study further, focusing on the fireplace beneath Rupert's portrait. He taps the stone, finding a loose brick that reveals a hidden compartment. Inside is a vial of dried residue belladonna. Poirot suspects the same poison Harrow's note suggested. "Mon ami," he tells Hastings, "this is the proof Rupert hid and Harrow sought." The vial's label is faded, but a faint jasmine scent clungs to it, matching the note from the crime scene. Poirot also finds a torn letter fragment addressed to E.L., likely Edward Lyle, warning of a financial betrayal. The pieces are aligning, but the killer's identity remains elusive. Back in the drawing room, the guests are restless, their nerves fraying under Japp's watch. Poirot questions Colonel Vane about the journal's mention of MV. The colonel's face hardens, his cane tapping sharply. "Rupert was my friend," he growls. "I warned him about shady deals, but he wouldn't listen." Poirot presses, "And did you know of poison, Colonel?" Vane's eyes narrow. but he denies it, though Poirot notices a fresh burn mark on his glove, as if he handled something hot perhaps, near a fireplace. Your cane, Monsieur Poirot, adds, its scratch matches the east wing floor. Were you there? Vane snaps. I was dancing, not skulking. But his defensiveness betrays him. Miss Fontaine, still shaken, is next. Poirot shows her the pearl bead. Mademoiselle, this matches your earring. Were you in the east wing before the scream? Isabella's voice trembles. I told you, I went for air. I didn't know that man. But Poirot notices her jasmine perfume, a match for the crime scene scent. Your gown, mademoiselle, was stained with blood. Did you struggle with Harrow? Isabella's eyes fill with tears, and she shakes her head, but her fingers clutch a silk scarf, its texture mirroring the ballroom's tapestries. Poirot suspects she's hiding a connection to the east wing. Mr. Lyle, ever composed, meets Poirot's gaze steadily. Monsieur Lyle, the letter fragment names you, Poirot says, showing the torn paper. Did Lord Rupert suspect you of betrayal? Lyle adjusts his glasses, his voice calm. I managed his accounts, nothing more. If he suspected me, he was mistaken. But Poirot notices a smudge of ash on Lyle's sleeve, suggesting proximity to a fireplace. You were near the tapestry, Poirot says, yet your notebook tracks. More than numbers, none. Lyle's lips tighten, but he says nothing, his silence a clue in itself. Lady Celeste, when confronted about the journal, grows pale. That was Rupert's private diary, she says, her voice sharp. You had no right. Poirot holds up the vial. Madame, this belladonna suggests your husband was poisoned, not shot by accident. Did you know? Her composure cracks, her hand brushing her silk shawl. I loved Rupert, she whispers, but her eyes dart to Colonel Vane, hinting at a shared secret. Poirot recalls the journal's mention of her coldness and wonders if she orchestrated the poisoning to secure the fortune. Japp's men uncover more from Harrow's briefcase, a photograph of a silk tapestry in the east wing, annotated with check the seams. Poirot returns to the corridor, examining a tapestry near the crime scene. A loose thread reveals a hidden pocket containing a small key, engraved with R. M. Rupert Marwood. The silk hides the truth, Poirot murmurs, realizing the tapestry concealed Rupert's final clue. The key likely opens a safe, but where? The east wing holds more secrets, and Poirot vows to find them as accusations swirl among the guests. Colonel Vane accuses Lyle of tampering with the trust, while Isabella snaps at Vane for his overbearing demeanor. Lady Celeste remains aloof, but her jasmine scent lingers, tying her to the crime. Poirot addresses the group. Mesdames et messieurs, the east wing has spoken. Lord Rupert was murdered, and Harrow died to keep it hidden. The killer is among us. The room falls silent, eyes darting with suspicion. Poirot confides in Hastings. The silk is unraveling, mon ami. The key will lead us to the truth. In the next chapter, Poirot will hunt for the safe, uncovering a revelation that could expose the killer or provoke another strike. Stay tuned, folks, this waltz is deadly. Smash that like button, subscribe, and drop your theories in the comments. Is Lady Celeste the mastermind, or is Vane's cane hiding more than scratches? Let's keep dancing through the clues. The air in Ravenwood Hall grows heavier, as if the walls themselves guard the secrets Hercule Poirot seeks to unravel. The east wing, with its dusty corridors and hidden clues, has yielded a journal, a vial of belladonna, and a small key engraved with R. M. Rupert Marwood found in a silk tapestry's secret pocket. Julian Harrow's murder, His blood-staining Miss Isabella Fontaine's gown is tied to Lord Rupert's poisoning, disguised as a hunting accident 3 years ago. The note in Harrow's hand, the silk hides, the truth echoes the journals. Cryptic warnings, while a pearl bead, a jasmine scent, and a recently oiled lock point to a killer among Lady Celeste Marwood, Colonel Marcus Vane, Miss Fontaine, and Mr. Edward Lyle. Poirot's little grey cells are piecing together a puzzle of betrayal and greed, and the key in his pocket promises to unlock the final truth. In this chapter, we follow Poirot as he searches for the safe it opens, uncovering a revelation that brings the killer's motive into sharp focus. The fatal waltz is spinning faster, and one wrong step could end it all. Let's chase the truth with Poirot. Poirot returns to the east wing, the small key glinting in his gloved hand. Captain Hastings trails behind, his curiosity tinged with unease, while Inspector Japp, ever practical, grumbles, "This better lead somewhere, Poirot. We've got a body and no killer." Poirot's moustache twitches. "Patience, mon cher Inspector. The key is the rhythm of this dance." He focuses on Lord Rupert's study, where the journal and belladonna vial were found, suspecting the safe is hidden nearby. The portrait of Rupert above the fireplace looms large, its stern gaze a silent challenge. Poirot examines the frame, tapping gently, and hears a hollow echo. With a deft push, the portrait swings open, revealing a small wall safe. "Voila," Poirot murmurs, "the silk has led us to the flame." The key fits perfectly, and the safe opens to reveal a velvet pouch containing a single documenta, codicil to Lord Rupert's will. The codicil, dated a week before his death, alters the trust, naming Colonel Marcus Vane as a beneficiary alongside Lady Celeste, but only if certain conditions are met. Proof of foul play in Rupert's death would nullify Celeste's inheritance. Poirot's eyes gleam. "Mon ami," he tells Hastings, "this is the truth Harrow sought. Rupert suspected murder and left a safeguard." The document also mentions a financial overseer, likely Edward Lyle, tasked with protecting the trust. A handwritten note in the margin, in Rupert's script, reads, "Beware the jasmine veil." The jasmine scent, tied to the crime scene, now points to a deeper conspiracy. Poirot's discovery shifts the investigation. The codicil suggests a motive. If Harrow exposed Rupert's poisoning, Celeste's fortune would be at risk, and Vane's gain would be blocked. But who else knew? Poirot examines the safe further, finding a trace of ash similar to the smudge on Lyle's sleeves, suggesting someone tampered with it recently. Hastings, Poirot says, the killer knew of this codicil and silenced Harrow to protect it. Japp, intrigued, orders his men to search the east wing for more evidence, but Poirot's focus is on the suspects, each tied to the clues. Celeste's jasmine perfume, Vane's scratched cane, Fontaine's pearl bead, and Lyle's inky cuff, dot in the drawing room. The guests are on edge, their alibis fraying. Poirot confronts Colonel Vane first, holding up the codicil. "Monsieur, you stood to gain from Lord Rupert's death, yet you hid this. Why?" Vane's face reddens, his cane tapping furiously. "Rupert was my friend. I didn't want his money. I warned him about Celeste." But Poirot points to the burn mark on Vane's glove. "You were near a fire, perhaps in the study. Did you seek this codicil?" Vane sputters. "I was checking the fireplace for drafts." This is nonsense. His defensiveness, coupled with the scratched cane, keeps him in Poirot's sights. Miss Fontaine, still shaken, clutches her silk scarf as Poirot approaches. "Mademoiselle, your jasmine perfume matches the scent on Harrow's note. And your earring was found near his body. Were you in the East Wing to meet him? Isabella's eyes widen. I swear I only went for air. I didn't know him. But Poirot notices a faint tear in her scarf, as if caught on a rough surface, like the East Wing's stone walls. Your gown was stained with blood, he says. Did you struggle with Harrow? Isabella's tears flow, but she insists. I only screamed when I saw him. Poirot senses she's hiding something, perhaps fear rather than guilt. Mr. Lyle, calm as ever, meets Poirot's gaze with cool precision. Monsieur Lyle, the codicil names you as overseer. Did you know of its existence? Lyle adjusts his glasses. I managed Rupert's accounts, not his secrets. If there was a codicil, he never told me. But Poirot holds up the letter fragment from the study, addressed to E.L. Lord Rupert suspected betrayal. Monsieur, was it yours? Lyle's composure holds, but a flicker of unease crosses his face. The ash on his sleeve, Poirot notes, ties him to the fireplace and possibly the safe. Lady Celeste, regal in her sapphire gown, grows tense when Poirot shows her the codicil. Madame, this document threatens your fortune. Did Harrow's investigation endanger you? Her voice is icy. My husband's death was an accident, Monsieur Poirot. This codicil changes nothing. But her jasmine perfume fills the air, and Poirot recalls the journal's warning about her coldness. Your scent, madame, is on the note in Harrow's hand. A coincidence. Celeste's hand brushes her shawl, and Poirot notices a small burn mark on her wrist, as if from handling a hot object. You protest, yet the evidence speaks, he says, leaving her visibly shaken. JAPP, single quotes as men return with a find from the East Wing, a hidden panel in the corridor, containing a small pistol case empty. The case smells faintly of gunpowder, matching the residue on Harrow's body. The murder weapon was here, Poirot says, and someone with access to the East Wing used it. The oiled lock suggests an insider, and Poirot suspects the killer retrieved the pistol before the gala. He also learns from a footman that Harrow was seen arguing with a man in a dark coat near the East Wing earlier that evening, possibly Vane, whose military coat fits the description. The guest's accusations escalate, with Vane pointing at Lyle for manipulating the trust, and Fontaine accusing Vane of lurking near the East Wing. Celeste remains aloof, but her eyes betray fear. Addresses the group. Madame et Messieurs, the codicil reveals a motive for murder. Someone in this room killed to protect their gain or their guilt. The tension is palpable, and Poirot confides in Hastings. The jasmine veil is lifting, mon ami. The safe has spoken, but the killer remains silent. In the next chapter, Poirot will set a trap to force the murderer's hand, using the codicil, to provoke a desperate act. The waltz is nearing its climax. Don't miss it, folks. Smash that like button, subscribe, and drop your theories in the comments. Is Celeste's perfume the key, or is Vane's cane hiding a darker truth? Let's keep this fatal waltz spinning. Ravenwood Hall's ballroom, with its shimmering chandeliers and silk tapestries, feels like a stage set for a deadly reckoning. Hercule Poirot holds the key engraved with RM and the codicil from Lord Rupert Marwood's hidden safe, revealing a motive for murder, a contested fortune that could shift from Lady Celeste Marwood to Colonel Marcus Vane if foul play in Rupert's death was proven. Julian Harrow's murder, his blood-staining Miss Isabella Fontaine's silk gown, is tied to this secret, with closer, jasmine-scented note, a pearl bead, a belladonna vial, and an empty pistol case pointing to a killer among Celeste, Vane, Fontaine, and Mr. Edward Lyle. The East Wing's secrets, from Rupert's journal to the hidden safe, suggest a conspiracy of poison and betrayal. In this chapter, Poirot sets a cunning trap, using the codicil and the ballroom's glamour to lure the killer into a fatal misstep. The waltz is at its peak, and one wrong move could unravel everything. Let's watch Poirot lead the dance. Gathers Inspector Japp and Captain Hastings in the East Wing's study, the codicil clutched in his gloved hand. "Mise, Amos," he says, his voice a quiet command. The killer believes they have outwitted us, but their steps falter. We shall use the ballroom to force their hand. His plan is bold, a staged reenactment of the gala's key moments, announced as a police exercise to test alibis, but designed to provoke the killer. By revealing the codicil's contents to the guests, Poirot aims to spark a reaction panic, a slip, or an attempt to destroy evidence. Japp, rubbing his chin, mutters, "You're playing a dangerous game, Poirot." Hastings, wide-eyed, adds, "What if they strike again?" Poirot's eyes gleam. "Then, mon ami, we shall catch them in the act." The guests are summoned back to the ballroom, their faces a mix of reluctance and fear. Lady Celeste, in her sapphire silk gown, protests. "This is unnecessary, Monsieur Poirot. We've been through enough." But Poirot's authority prevails. "Madame, the truth requires a stage, and this ballroom is ideal." The room is set as it was on the fatal night, chandeliers glowing, silk tapestries gleaming, and the quartet playing a soft waltz. Japp's officers linger discreetly at the exits, ready to pounce. The guests, dressed in their gala attire, take their places, their movements stiff with tension. Poirot watches closely, his gaze flicking between Celeste's guarded smile, Vane's clenched cane, Fontaine's trembling hands, and Lyle's inky fingers. Poirot begins by revealing the codicil, holding it aloft. This document, hidden by Lord Rupert, names Colonel Vane as a beneficiary, but only if his death was proven foul. Julian Harrow sought this truth, and it cost him his life. A gasp ripples through the room. Vane's face darkens, his cane tapping sharply. "That's nonsense, Poirot. I didn't need Rupert's money." But Poirot points to the burn mark on Vane's glove. "You were near the fireplace, monsieur, where the safe was hidden. Did you seek this codicil?" Vane's denial is gruff, but his eyes dart to Celeste, hinting at a shared secret. Next, Poirot turns to Lady Celeste, producing the jasmine-scented vial from the safe. "Madame, this belladonna matches the poison in Rupert's system. Your perfume, so similar, was on Harrow's note. Did you silence him to protect your fortune?" Celeste's composure wavers, her hand brushing her silk shawl. "You accuse me based on scent. This is absurd." But Poirot notices a faint tear in her shawl, as if caught on a rough edge, perhaps the East Wing's stone. He presses. "The codicil threatens your inheritance. Madame, was Harrow's death your defense?" Celeste's silence is heavy, her jasmine scent filling the air. Miss Fontaine, clutching her silk scarf, flinches as Poirot addresses her. "Mademoiselle, your earring was found near Harrow's body, and your gown bore his blood. Did you meet him in the East Wing?" Isabella's voice trembles. "I only found him, I swear. I didn't know him." But Poirot holds up the pearl. Bead, its match still missing from her ear. "Your scarf, mademoiselle, is torn, like one caught in a struggle. What do you hide?" Isabella's tears fall, but she insists, "I was scared, that's all." Poirot senses truth in her fear, but suspects she saw more than she admits. Mr. Lyle, ever reserved, meets Poirot's questions with calm precision. Monsieur Lyle, the codicil names you as overseer, and ash on your sleeve places you near the safe. Did you know its contents? Lyle adjusts his glasses. I managed accounts, not secrets. If Rupert hid a codicil, it was news to me. But Poirot points to the inky smudge on his cuff, matching the note's blue ink. Your notebook, monsieur, holds more than numbers, Nan. Lyle's lips tighten, but he says nothing. His silence a clue in itself. As the reenactment begins, Poirot directs the guests to retrace their steps. Celeste and Vane dance the waltz, their movements tense, while Fontaine is sent to the east wing door, where she found Harrow. Lyle stands by the tapestry, his notebook open. Poirot signals the quartet to pause, mimicking the moment of the scream, and watches closely. Fontaine hesitates at the door, her eyes darting to Vane, while Lyle's pen pauses, his gaze fixed on Celeste. Poirot then produces the empty pistol case, announcing this was found in the east wing, where the murder weapon was kept. Someone here retrieved it before the gala. The room tenses, and Vane's cane slips. Clattering to the floor, Poirot seizes the moment, asking Vane to demonstrate his dance with Celeste. As Vane moves, Poirot notices a faint bulge in his coat pocketer, shaped like a small pistol. Monsieur Poirot says, "May we see what you carry?" Vane's face reddens, but before he can respond, a sudden movement catches Poirot's eye. Silk tapestry shifts, and a figure darts toward the east wing. Jap's men intercept, revealing a terrified footman clutching a silk cloth. "Was just cleaning," he stammers, but Poirot notices the cloth smells of jasmine. A distraction, perhaps. Poirot muses, suspecting the real killer used the footman to divert attention. The trap has stirred the guests. Celeste's shawl tear, Vane's bulge, Fontaine's hesitation, and Lyle's ink all point to guilt, but no one confesses. Poirot confides in Jap and Hastings. The killer is nervous. Mies Amos. The codicil has shaken them. Jap grumbles. We need more than shakes, Poirot. Poirot smiles. The next step will force their hand. In the next chapter, Poirot will dig deeper into the jasmine scent and the pistol, setting a final trap to catch the killer. The waltz is nearing its end. Don't miss it, folks. Smash that like button, subscribe, and drop your theories in the comments. Is Vane's cane hiding a gun, or is Celeste's shawl the real clue? Let's keep this Fatal Waltz spinning. Ravenwood Hall's ballroom, with its silk tapestries and flickering chandeliers, hums with the tension of a tightly wound spring. Hercule Poirot's reenactment has rattled the guests, exposing cracks in their alibis. Lady Celeste Marwood's torn jasmine-scented shawl, Colonel Marcus Vane's suspicious bulge in his coat, Miss Isabella Fontaine's missing pearl earring, and Mr. Edward Lyle's inky cuff. The codicil from Lord Rupert Marwood's safe, threatening Celeste's fortune and naming Vane as a beneficiary, ties Julian Harrow's murder to Rupert's poisoning 3 years ago. The note in Harrow's hand, the silk hides the truth, and the empty pistol case from the east wing point to a killer desperate to protect a secret. Poirot's little grey cells are piecing together the jasmine scent, the belladonna vial, and the key engraved with RM. In this chapter, he delves deeper into the jasmine clue and the pistol's trail, tightening the noose around the suspects. The fatal waltz is spinning toward a breaking point, and the killer's next move could be their undoing. Let's follow. Poirot into the heart of the mystery. Poirot retreats to the East Wing's study, where the safe yielded the codicil, seeking to unravel the jasmine scent's significance. Captain Hastings, ever loyal, hovers nearby, while Inspector Japp, impatient for results, mutters, "We've got clues, Poirot, but no killer. What's this jasmine business?" Poirot's moustache twitches. "Mon cher Inspector, the scent is the veil that hides the truth. It links the crime to one among us." He re-examines the vial of belladonna, its jasmine scent matching the note in Harrow's hand and Celeste's shawl. The torn shawl, he suspects, was caught in a struggle, perhaps with Harrow in the East Wing. Poirot also recalls the footman's jasmine-scented cloth, a possible plant to mislead, but by whom? To trace the pistol, Poirot requests Japp's men to search the manor for any hidden weapons. They return with a gardener's report. A small pistol was seen in the East Wing's storage room days before the gala, but it's now missing. The storage room, adjacent to the corridor where Harrow died, has a loose floorboard, and Poirot finds a trace of gunpowder beneath it, confirmation the murder weapon was stored there. The killer had access, Poirot tells Hastings, and they knew the East Wing well. The oiled lock and the footman's sighting of a man in a dark coat, possibly Vane suggests an insider's knowledge. Poirot suspects the pistol is still in the manor, hidden by the killer to avoid detection. Poirot confronts Lady Celeste in her private parlour, where jasmine perfume lingers heavily. "Madame," he begins, holding up the torn shawl, "this was caught in a struggle, and its scent matches the crime scene. Did you meet Harrow in the East Wing?" Celeste's eyes flash, her sapphire gown shimmering with defiance. "I was in the ballroom, Monsieur Poirot, as dozens can attest. My shawl tore on a chair, nothing more." But Poirot notices a small key on her desk, similar to the one from the tapestry. "And this key, madame, does it open another secret?" Celeste's hand moves to cover it, but she recovers, saying, "It's for my jewelry box." Poirot's smile is knowing. The key's design is too ornate for such a mundane purpose. Colonel Vane, in the billiard room, grips his cane tightly as Poirot questions him. "Monsieur, your coat held a bulge, perhaps a pistol, and your glove bears a burn, as if near a fire where evidence was destroyed." Vane's face reddens. "I carry a flask, not a gun, and the burn's from a cigar." But Poirot points to the scratched cane, matching the East Wing's stone floor. "You were there, monsieur, near the time of the murder. Did you confront Harrow?" Vane slams his cane down. "I was protecting Celeste from that snoop. He was digging into Rupert's death. His admission places him near the crime." But Poirot wonders if his loyalty to Celeste masks a darker role. Miss Fontaine, in the conservatory, is a bundle of nerves when Poirot shows her the pearl bead. "Mademoiselle, your earring places you at the scene, and your jasmine perfume mirrors the note's scent. Were you part of a conspiracy?" Isabella's voice cracks. "I swear, I only screamed when I saw him. I use jasmine, yes, but so do others." Poirot notices a small cut on her hand, as if from a sharp edge, perhaps the East Wing's rough walls. "Your gown was stained, mademoiselle. Did you struggle with Harrow or witness his death?" Isabella's tears fall, but she insists, "I saw nothing." Poirot senses she's protecting someone, perhaps out of fear. Mr. Lyle, in the library, remains calm as Poirot questions him. "Monsieur, your inky cuff and ash-stained sleeve place you near the safe. Did you seek the codicil?" Lyle adjusts his glasses. "I handle accounts, not secrets. Any ash came from dusting ledgers, but Poirot holds up the letter fragment addressed to E.L. Lord Rupert suspected betrayal, Monsieur was it? Yours. Lyle's composure holds, but a slight twitch in his jaw betrays unease. Poirot notes his notebook, filled with precise figures, but one page has a smudged sketch of a tapestry perhaps, the one hiding the key. JAPP, single quotes as men, uncover a new clue, a servant's log noting a delivery of jasmine perfume to Ravenwood Hall, addressed to C.M. Celeste Marwood, days before the gala. The receipt, found in Harrow's briefcase, suggests he was tracking the perfume's source. Poirot theorizes Harrow suspected the jasmine was used to mask belladonna, as it was in Rupert's poisoning. The killer is clever, Poirot tells Hastings, but their scent betrays them. He also learns the storage room's pistol was last seen by a maid, who overheard a heated argument between two men, one with a gruff voice, like Vane's near the East Wing before the gala. The guests' tensions boil over, with Vane accusing Fontaine of luring Harrow to his death, while Lyle suggests Vane's military past makes him a likely shooter. Celeste remains silent, her eyes on the key Poirot spotted. Poirot addresses the group. Madame et Messieurs, the jasmine veil conceals a poisoner and a shooter. The pistol is near, and the killer is watching. The room grows quiet, suspicion thick in the air. Poirot confides in Jap. The trap has stirred them, Inspector. The next move will force their hand. In the next chapter, Poirot will stage a final confrontation, using the key and the pistol's trail to unmask the killer. The waltz is deadly. Stay tuned, folks. Smash that like button, subscribe, and drop your theories in the comments. Is Celeste's shawl the key, or is Vane's flask hiding a gun? Let's keep this fatal waltz spinning. The ballroom of Ravenwood Hall, its silk tapestries catching the evening light, is a powder keg of suspicion. Hercule Poirot's investigation has tightened the net around Lady Celeste Marwood. Colonel Marcus Vane, Miss Isabella Fontaine, and Mr. Edward Lyle, each linked to Julian Harrow's murder and Lord Rupert Marwood's poisoning. The jasmine-scented shawl, the missing pistol, the pearl bead, the codicil, and the belladonna vial point to a killer desperate to protect a fortune. The key on Celeste's desk and the gunpowder trace in the East Wing suggest the murder weapon is still in play. Poirot's reenactment stirred the suspects, but no confession has emerged. In this chapter, he stages a final confrontation, using the codicil and the jasmine clue to force the killer into the open. The fatal waltz is at its crescendo, and the truth is one step away. Let's watch Poirot take the lead. Poirot gathers the guests in the ballroom, where the chandeliers cast long shadows. Jap's officers guard the exits, and Hastings stands, ready with his notepad. The guests, in their gala attire, are tense. Celeste's sapphire gown gleams, Vane grips his cane, Fontaine clutches her scarf, and Lyle holds his notebook. Poirot steps forward, his voice commanding. Madame, et messieurs, the dance of deception ends tonight. Julian Harrow died to protect a secret tied to Lord Rupert's murder. The truth, hidden in silk, will now be revealed. The room is silent, every eye on Poirot as he lays out the case. He begins with Rupert's death, poisoned by belladonna, masked with jasmine. The codicil, Poirot says, holding it up, threatened Madame Celeste's fortune and named Colonel Vane as a beneficiary. Harrow sought this truth, and it cost him his life. He turns to Celeste, producing the key from her desk. Madame, this opens a secret, does it not? Your jasmine shawl, torn in the east wing, places you near Harrow's death. Celeste's face pales, but she retorts, that key is for my personal effects. I was in the ballroom. Poirot points to the burn mark on her wrist. And this, madame, from handling poison, perhaps. Vane interrupts, his voice booming. You're barking up the wrong tree, Poirot. I was Rupert's friend. Poirot holds up the scratched cane. Yet your cane places you in the east wing, monsieur, and your coat held a pistol's shape. Did you shoot Harrow to protect the codicil? Vane's eyes blaze, but he denies it, his glove hiding the burn mark. Poirot then addresses Fontaine, showing the pearl bead. Mademoiselle, your earring and jasmine scent place you at the scene. Did you witness the murder, or aid it? Isabella sobs, I only screamed. I didn't shoot him. But her torn scarf suggests a struggle. Lyle, calm as ever, faces Poirot's scrutiny. Monsieur, your inky cuff and ash-stained sleeve tie you to the safe. The letter 2EL suggests Rupert's distrust. Were you the betrayer? Lyle's voice is steady. I was loyal to Rupert. Your accusations are baseless. But Poirot reveals the tapestry sketch in Lyle's notebook, matching the one hiding the key. You knew where to look, Monsieur Poirot says, and Lyle's composure falters, his glasses slipping slightly. Poirot unveils a new clue, a hidden pocket in the ballroom's largest tapestry, found after the reenactment, containing a small pistol loaded with traces of gunpowder. This, Poirot declares, is the murder weapon, hidden where the silk meets the flame. The guests gasp, and Vane's hand moves to his coat, but Japp's men step closer. Poirot continues, the jasmine scent links the killer to the poison and the shooting. One of you orchestrated both murders. He pauses, then points to Celeste. Madame, your shawl and perfume betray you. You poisoned Rupert to secure the fortune, and when Harrow threatened to expose it, you shot him. Celeste laughs, a brittle sound. You have no proof, Poirot. But Poirot produces the footman's cloth, its jasmine scent matching her shawl. This was your attempt to mislead Madame, but it failed. Vane, enraged, shouts, She's no killer. I was there, I saw nothing, but Poirot pivots. Monsieur Vane, your loyalty to Celeste blinded you. You hid the pistol for her, did you not? Vane's silence is damning, and Fontaine gasps, I saw him near the tapestry. Lyle, quiet until now, adds, I suspected Celeste, but I had no proof. The confrontation peaks as Celeste bolts for the east wing, but Japp's men stop her. A search of her shawl reveals a hidden vial belladonna laced with jasmine. The truth, Madame Poirot says, is in the silk. Celeste collapses, confessing, I poisoned Rupert, but Vane shot Harrow to protect me. Vane, defeated, admits to hiding the pistol, believing Celeste innocent. Poirot nods. The waltz is over. In the next chapter, Poirot will tie up the loose ends, ensuring justice for Harrow and Rupert. The truth is, don't miss it, folks. Smash that like button, subscribe, and drop your theories in the comments. Did Celeste lead the dance, or is Vane's loyalty a lie? Let's keep this fatal waltz spinning. The ballroom of Ravenwood Hall, its silk tapestries glowing under the chandeliers, is a stage where the final notes of a deadly waltz linger. Hercule Poirot's confrontation has exposed Lady Celeste Marwood as the mastermind behind Lord Rupert Marwood's poisoning, with Colonel Marcus Vane as her accomplice in the murder of Julian Harrow, shot to protect the secret of a codicil that threatened Celeste's fortune. The jasmine-scented shawl, the belladonna vial, the pearl bead, the hidden pistol, and the key engraved with RM, have woven a tight net around the suspects, with Miss Isabella Fontaine and Mr. Edward Lyle caught in the crossfire of suspicion. Celeste's confession that she poisoned Rupert while Vane shot Harrow has cracked the case, but loose threads remain. In this chapter, Poirot digs deeper into the jasmine veil, tying the clues to the motives and ensuring no detail escapes. His little grey cells. The fatal waltz is slowing, and the truth is almost bare. Let's follow Poirot as he unravels the final strands. Poirot stands in the East Wing study, where the codicil and belladonna vial were found, piecing together the last pieces of the puzzle with Captain Hastings and Inspector Japp. "Amos," he says, his voice steady, "the dance is nearly done, but we must ensure every step is accounted for." Japp, rubbing his temples, grumbles, "We've got Celeste and Vane, Poirot, but how do Fontaine and Lyle fit in?" Hastings, ever curious, adds, "And what about that jasmine scent? It's everywhere." Poirot's mustache twitches. "The jasmine, mon ami, is the veil that cloaked the crime. Let us lift it completely." He focuses on verifying Celeste's confession and Vane's role, while clarifying the innocence or complicity of the others. Poirot begins by re-examining the evidence. The codicil, hidden in the safe behind Rupert's portrait, named Vane as a beneficiary if foul play was proven, giving Celeste a motive to poison her husband to secure the fortune. The belladonna vial, scented with jasmine, confirms her method, masking the poison in Rupert's drink during a hunting party. Harrow's note, "The silk hides the truth," pointed to the tapestry where the key was hidden. And Poirot suspects Celeste planted the jasmine scent to mislead. The pistol, found in the tapestry's pocket, ties Vane to Harrow's murder. Its gunpowder matching the residue on the East Wing pillar. The clues align, Poirot tells Japp, but we must confirm the accomplices. To trace the jasmines. Source: Poirot requests Japp's men to investigate the perfume delivery receipt found in Harrow's briefcase. The report comes back. The jasmine perfume was custom ordered by Celeste, but delivered to a guest room occupied by Isabella Fontaine. Curious, Poirot murmurs, suspecting Isabella's involvement is more than accidental. He confronts her. In the conservatory, where she's nervously arranging flowers. "Mademoiselle," he says, holding up the receipt, "this perfume was sent to your room. Did you aid Celeste in masking the poison?" Isabella's eyes widen, her silk scarf slipping. I received a gift, but I didn't know it was from her," she stammers. Poirot notices a fresh cut on her finger, matching the tear in her scarf perhaps from handling the vial. Colonel Vane, under guard in the billiard room, is defiant when Poirot questions him. "Monsieur, you admitted to shooting Harrow, but why protect Celeste?" Vane's cane lies discarded, his face haggard. "I loved her," he growls. "She said Rupert's death was an accident, and Harrow was blackmailing her. I had to stop him." Poirot holds up the pistol. "This was hidden in the tapestry, monsieur. Your burn mark suggests you handled it recently." Vane's shoulders slump. "I hid it after I shot him. Celeste begged me to keep her safe." Poirot nods, seeing Vane as a pawn in Celeste's game. His loyalty exploited. Mr. Lyle, in the library, remains a quiet enigma. Poirot shows him the letter fragment addressed to E.L. Monsieur Rupert suspected betrayal in his finances. "Did you hide the codicil to protect Celeste?" Lyle's glasses glint as he replies, "I managed the trust, nothing more. If Rupert suspected me, he was wrong." But Poirot points to the ash on Lyle's sleeve and the tapestry sketch in his notebook. You knew of the safe, monsieur, did you search it for Celeste? Lyle's composure cracks, his voice low. I suspected her, but I had no proof. I checked the tapestry to confirm the codicil's existence. Poirot senses Lyle's honesty, but wonders if his silence aided the crime. Lady Celeste, now confined to her parlour, faces Poirot's final questions. Madame, he says, producing the jasmine-scented shawl, you orchestrated Rupert's poisoning, and your perfume veiled it. Why involve Vane in Harrow's death? Celeste's eyes are cold, her sapphire gown a stark contrast to her defeat. Harrow was too close, she admits. He found the codicil and threatened to ruin me. I told Marcus he was a danger, and he reacted. Poirot holds up the key from her desk. This opens another safe. Madame, what else do you hide? Celeste's defiance fades, and she reveals a second safe in her bedroom, containing letters proving she bribed the coroner to rule Rupert's death an accident. Japp's men retrieve the letters, which detail Celeste's payments to a Dr. Harrow Julian's father, a disgraced physician. Mon Dieu, Poirot murmurs. Harrow's investigation was personal. The letters confirm Celeste's role in the cover-up, and Vane's shooting was a desperate bid to protect her. Isabella, Poirot deduces, was an unwitting pawn, her jasmine perfume a gift from Celeste to muddy the waters. Lyle, aware of the financial irregularities, stayed silent to protect his position, but never acted against Rupert. The guests gathered once more. Hear Poirot's summation. Madame et Messieurs, Celeste poisoned Lord Rupert for his fortune, using jasmine to mask belladonna. Harrow, seeking justice for his father, uncovered the codicil, and Vane shot him to protect Celeste. The silk shawl, the tapestry, hid the truth, but not from Hercule Poirot. Celeste and Vane are led away, while Isabella and Lyle, shaken but cleared, remain. Poirot confides in Hastings. The jasmine veil is lifted. Mon ami, the dance is nearly done. In the next chapter, Poirot will ensure justice, tying up every thread in this deadly waltz. Don't miss it, folks. The truth is almost bare. Smash that like button, subscribe, and drop your theories in the comments. Was Celeste the sole mastermind, or did Vane know more? Let's keep this fatal waltz spinning. Ravenwood Hall's ballroom, with its silk tapestries and dimming chandeliers, feels like a stage where the final act is unfolding. Hercule Poirot has unravelled the conspiracy behind Julian Harrow's murder and Lord Rupert Marwood's poisoning. 3 years prior, pinning Lady Celeste Marwood as the mastermind who used belladonna, masked by jasmine, to secure her fortune, with Colonel Marcus Vane as her accomplice in shooting Harrow to silence his investigation. The codicil, hidden in a safe behind Rupert's portrait, threatened Celeste's inheritance, while clues a jasmine-scented shawl, a pearl bead, a belladonna vial, a hidden pistol, and letters bribing a coroner tied the crimes together. Miss Isabella Fontaine and Mr. Edward Lyle, though entangled, appeared to be pawns in Celeste's game. Poirot's little grey cells are now focused on tying every thread, jasmine, silk, and betrayals to a complete tapestry of truth. In this chapter, we follow him as he probes the final details, ensuring no secret escapes, and the killer's motives are laid bare. The fatal waltz is slowing, but the final steps are crucial. Let's dive into the truth with Poirot. Poirot gathers Inspector Japp and Captain Hastings in the East Wing's study, where the safes contains the codicil and belladonna vial revealed the depth of Celeste's scheme. The air is heavy with dust and the weight of justice. Mise Amos, Poirot says, his voice steady. We have the dancers, but the choreography must be perfected. Every clue must align to ensure no escape. Jap, weary but impressed, asks, We've got Celeste and Vane Poirot, but what about Fontaine and Lyle? Are they clean? Hastings, clutching his notepad, adds, and that jasmine scent, it's still nagging me. Poirot's moustache twitches. The jasmine, mon ami, is the thread that binds the crimes. Let us weave it together. Poirot begins by re-examining the letters from Celeste's bedroom safe, which detailed her payments to Dr. Harrow, Julian's father, to falsify Rupert's autopsy as a hunting accident. The letters, written in Celeste's elegant hand, reveal her desperation to secure the Marwood fortune tied to a trust that Rupert's codicil could unravel. Monsieur Poirot murmurs, Julian's quest was personal, avenging his father's disgrace. The letters mention a loyal friend who aided Celeste, pointing to Vane's role not just in Harrow's murder but in the cover-up. Poirot suspects Vane's military precision made him the perfect accomplice, but he needs proof of their collaboration beyond the confession. To confirm Vane's involvement, Poirot revisits the pistol found in the tapestry's hidden pocket. The gunpowder residue matches the east wing's pillar, and a faint scratch on the pistol's handle aligns with the mark on Vane's cane. Monsieur Vane, Poirot tells Jap, handled this weapon with care, but not enough. Jap's men uncover a new clue, a military-issued ammunition box, buried in the garden near the east wing, with Vane's initials etched faintly on the lid. The box, recently disturbed, suggests Vane hid it after the shooting. He was no mere pawn, Poirot says. He acted with intent, believing Celeste's lies. Poirot then focuses on Isabella Fontaine, whose jasmine perfume and pearl bead tied her to the crime scene. In the conservatory, he confronts her gently. Mademoiselle, your perfume was a gift from Celeste, was it not? Did you know its purpose? Isabella's hands tremble, her silk scarf slipping. She sent it as a thank you for singing at the gala, she whispers. I didn't know it was poisoned. Poirot shows her the receipt, confirming the delivery to her room. Your earring places you in the east wing, mademoiselle. Did you see Vane or Celeste there? Isabella's eyes fill with tears. Saw a shadow, a man with a cane. I was scared and ran. Her cut finger and torn scarf, Poirot deduces, came from fleeing the east wing, not a struggle. She's a witness, not a killer. Mr. Lyle in the library remains an enigma. Poirot shows him the letter fragment addressed to E.L. Monsieur Rupert suspected financial betrayal. Did you conceal the codicil to protect Celeste? Lyle's glasses glint as he replies, I managed the trust, nothing more. I suspected irregularities, but found no proof. Poirot points to the ash on Lyle's sleeve and the tapestry sketch in his notebook. You searched the safe, monsieur. Why? Lyle sighs, his calm breaking. I heard rumours of a codicil and checked the tapestry after Harrow's death. I wanted to protect Rupert's legacy. Poirot believes him, seeing Lyle as a cautious bystander, not a conspirator. Lady Celeste, under guard in her parlour, faces Poirot's relentless questions. Madame, your letters reveal a bribe to Dr. Harrow, and your shawl's jasmine scent ties you to both murders. Why involve Vane? Celeste's sapphire gown is a stark contrast to her defeated posture. Marcus was devoted, she says, her voice low. I told him Harrow was a threat to my reputation. He acted on his own. But Poirot holds up the key from her desk. This opened your safe, madame, with proof of your scheme. You planned every step. Celeste's eyes harden, but she offers no denial, her silence confirming her guilt. Vane, in the billiard room, is less composed. Monsieur Poirot says, "Your ammunition box and scratched cane betray you. You shot Harrow to protect Celeste. But did you know of the poison?" Vane's face crumples. "She said Rupert's death was an accident. I believed her until Harrow started digging." Poirot nods, seeing Vane's loyalty as his downfall. The burn mark on his glove, from hiding the pistol, seals his role as the shooter. "You danced to her tune," Monsieur Poirot says, "and it led to murder." Japp's men uncover a final clue, a servant's log noting Celeste's late night, visits to the East Wing before the gala, likely to retrieve the pistol. The footman, questioned again, admits seeing Celeste pass a small object to Vane, a key, perhaps to the tapestry's pocket. The silk concealed their plan, Poirot tells Hastings, but the jasmine betrayed them. The guests gathered. In the drawing room, hear Poirot's interim summation. Celeste poisoned Rupert, and Vane shot Harrow. Fontaine and Lyle, though close to the truth, were not complicit. The room is tense, with Isabella sobbing and Lyle nodding grimly. Poirot confides in Japp and Hastings. The threads are woven, mise Amos, but the tapestry must be complete. We must ensure justice. In the next chapter, Poirot will present the final case, tying every clue to justice for Rupert and Harrow. The waltz is nearly done. Stay tuned, folks. Smash that like button, subscribe, and drop your theories in the comments. Is Celeste's confession complete, or is Vane hiding more? Let's keep this fatal waltz spinning. The ballroom of Ravenwood Hall, its silk tapestries now dim in the morning light, stands as a silent witness to Hercule Poirot's triumph. Lady Celeste Marwood, the mastermind who poisoned Lord Rupert Marwood with jasmine-laced belladonna, and Colonel Marcus Vane, her loyal accomplice who shot Julian Harrow to protect her secret, are under guard, their confessions cracking the case. The codicil, hidden in a safe behind Rupert's portrait, threatened Celeste's fortune, while clues: a jasmine-scented shawl, a pearl bead, a belladonna vial, a hidden pistol, and bribed coroners' letters unraveled a conspiracy of greed and betrayal. Miss Isabella Fontaine, a frightened witness, and Mr. Edward Lyle, a cautious bystander, played their parts in the drama but escaped guilt. Poirot's little grey cells have woven every thread into a tapestry of truth, and now it's time to present the final case, ensuring justice for both victims. The fatal waltz is over, and the curtain is ready to fall. Let's join Poirot for the grand finale. Poirot gathers the guests, Inspector Japp, and Captain Hastings in the ballroom, where the chandeliers cast a soft glow on the silk tapestries. The guests, their faces etched with exhaustion and fear, sit in silence. Celeste, in her sapphire gown, her defiance faded. Vane, his cane discarded, his eyes hollow. Isabella, clutching her scarf, tear-streaked. And Lyle, his notebook closed, his expression sombre. Japp's officers stand ready, their presence a reminder of justice's weight. Poirot steps to the centre, his voice clear and commanding. "Mesdames et messieurs, the dance of deception has ended. Hercule Poirot will now reveal the truth behind the blood on the silk gown and the fatal waltz that claimed to lives." He begins with Lord Rupert's murder, poisoned by belladonna, masked with jasmine. Madame Celeste Poirot says, "You orchestrated Rupert's death to secure his fortune, bribing Dr. Harrow, Julian's father, to falsify the autopsy as a hunting accident. Celeste's eyes drop, her confession already given. The codicil Poirot continues, holding it aloft, hidden in the east wing's safe. Threatened your inheritance by naming Colonel Vane as a beneficiary if foul play was proven. You ensured it stayed hidden. The journal's warning, the silk hides the truth, led to the tapestry's key, which Poirot found, exposing Celeste's motive. Turning to Harrow's murder, Poirot addresses Vane. Monsieur, your loyalty to Celeste blinded you. When Julian, seeking justice for his father, uncovered the codicil, you shot him in the east wing, using a pistol hidden in the tapestry. The pistol, scratched by Vane's cane, and the ammunition box in the garden confirm his role. You believed Celeste's lies about an accident, Poirot says, but your burn mark from hiding the weapon betrays you. Vane's head bows, his admission quiet. I thought I was protecting her honor, he mutters, his military pride shattered. Poirot then clarifies Isabella's role. Mademoiselle Fontaine, your jasmine perfume and pearl bead placed you at the scene, but you were a witness, not a killer. Your scream alerted us, and your fear kept you silent. Isabella nods, her voice soft. I saw Vane with the gun, but I was too scared to speak. Her torn scarf and cut finger, Poirot explains, came from fleeing the east wing, where she stumbled upon Harrow's body. The jasmine perfume, a gift from Celeste, was a clever misdirection to cloud her innocence. Mr. Lyle, Poirot continues, was a bystander with suspicions. Monsieur, the letter to E.L. showed Rupert's distrust, but you sought the codicil to protect his legacy, not to betray it. Lyle's ashes-stained sleeve and tapestry sketch confirm he searched the safe after Harrow's death, hoping to uncover the truth. I failed Rupert, Lyle admits, his voice heavy. I should have acted sooner. Poirot's gaze softens. Your silence was caution, not complicity, monsieur. The jasmine scent, Poirot explains, was the veil that tied the crimes. Celeste used it to mask the belladonna in Rupert's drink, and again on the note in Harrow's hand to mislead us. The shawl, torn in the east wing, and the vial in her safe sealed her guilt. The footman's jasmine-scented cloth, planted by Celeste, was a final attempt to divert suspicion. Every detail, Poirot says, from the silk tapestry to the pearl bead, led to the truth. The Fatal Waltz was choreographed by greed, but justice has taken the lead. Japs officers escort Celeste and Vane to face charges, their confessions ensuring conviction. Isabella cleared vows to honor Harrow. Memory through her singing, her voice a tribute to his quest. Lyle, shaken but relieved, promises to safeguard the Marwood trust. The other guests, their secrets exposed, dispersed quietly, the ballroom's glamour faded. Poirot confides in Hastings, Mon ami, the little grey cells have danced their finest. Truth, like silk, is delicate but enduring. Hastings grins. You made it look effortless, Poirot. Poirot chuckles. Nan, it is never effortless, but always possible. As Poirot steps onto the east wing's balcony, where Harrow fell, the morning sun bathes Ravenwood Hall in light. The jasmine scent lingers faintly, a reminder of the veil now lifted. The waltz is over, Poirot muses, and justice takes. The final bow, the case is closed, its echoes a testament to Poirot's brilliance. That's the end of Poirot, and blood on the silk gown. The Fatal Waltz, folks. What a ride through Ravenwood's secrets. Smash that like button, subscribe, and hit the bell to never miss a mystery. Drop your thoughts in the comments, did you? Guess Celeste and Vane. Share this with your friends, and let's keep unraveling deadly dances together.